last one, guys. I'm Bella, the maker mama boss lady behind Fiber and Fox, and this is the last stop on the I-91 Shop Hop Trail. I have been, if you've been following along, thanks. If you haven't, jump back. There's a whole bunch of vlogs leading from New Haven, Connecticut, all the way up to Putney, Vermont. We're hitting Putney today, so this is going to be the final one. This is an event that happens locally for the last 11 or so years, I think. Shop Hop across Interstate 91. All the yarn stores participate. Thank you, Rachel, of You and You, for setting up these little interview idea. This is a really cool, fun thing to try out, and I've gotten to see a bunch of stores that are, fairly local to me, but I've never been to, so it's been really fun, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the little peek, whether you're able to go in person on the Shop Hop, or if you kind of just want to follow along and snoop in other people's local yarn stores, because I love doing that. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Tiny bit about me, if you missed the other intros. I'm Bella, like I said, I'm a crochet designer. I have a YouTube channel here where I normally podcast and talk about my crochet designs and other crochet maker content. There's some knitting in there as well. And yeah, I would love it if you'd stick around beyond these videos. I hope that you've enjoyed the little tours. But yeah, typically I'm not doing interviews. This is a new thing for me, and it's been fun to try out. Maybe I will continue to peep into other people's yarn stores when able to. But typically podcasting is my thing. And all the stuff you need to know about me is going to be linked down below, as well as links to all of the shops and Shop Hop and all of the other vlogs and whatnot. I'll make sure that's linked for you guys too. So without further ado, let's get road tripping to Vermont, because it's about a 2-hour drive, so we need to get started. And yeah, meet you guys in Putney. We're going to Green Mountain Spinnery. So I'm here, we're in this is the yarn shed, the wool shed,
the fiber shed,
fiber shed at Green Mountain Spinnery with
Kate Solomon.
All right, thank you for having me. Can you tell me a little about yourself, your shop, your staff?
Absolutely. So Green Mountain Spinnery is a worker-owned cooperative. So there are about 12 of us that work part-time, and 5 are worker owners, so they make all of the decisions that come across the table. The spinnery has been operating since 1981, so we're celebrating our 40th year this year, which we're really excited about. Awesome. And unlike some of the other yarn shops that you'll get a chance to see on the Shop Hop, we actually make the yarn here. So we're a working mill.
Yes, and I've never been to a mill before, so this is very, very exciting. This is obviously where you keep the
raw
stuff.
Ingredients, yeah.
It's so cool. There's so much in here. We're out here because the machinery inside's a little noisy, so this was better insulated. Or soundproof, I guess. So as far as what you carry, is it all your own yarns that you carry here?
That's right. The only yarns that you'll find here at the spinnery are yarns that we've spun here right on the premises. All of it includes fiber that was sourced from within the U.S., but 70% of the yarn that we produce here is actually never in our shop. So we custom spin for farmers, dyers, weavers all across the United States. And this stash is mostly theirs.
It's a big stash. Is what you're spinning all sheep wool, or do you have alpaca, other sorts of fiber as well? Or?
We do lots of different fibers. So with the yarns that you'll see in our retail shop, we've got wool blended with mohair from Angora goats, cotton sourced from an organic cooperative in Texas, alpaca grown pretty much all over New England, and tencel, which is a wood pulp product similar to rayon, but made in a closed system, so there are few chemical consequences, which is kind of nice. But the custom fiber that we work with is much broader. So we spin with llama, with alpaca, with bison, yak, Angora rabbit, all different kinds of things, but not dog.
Okay, not dog. I'll bring your dogs. As far as the Shop Hop, are you offering anything exclusive special this year? Or?
We are. So this summer we had a production accident, which is kind of a bummer for us, but a huge win for you. So we've got some irregular skeins.
Ooh.
So skeins that'll be thick, thin, that are perfect for felting.
Oh, nice.
And those are going to be offered at 50% off.
Okay, it's really nice. Staff-wise, I know you're here, and you said cooperative day in and day out. Are all those people here running the mill, or is it?
No, of the 12 of us that work here part-time, I'd say on a given day, maybe 6 to 8 of us will be here.
Okay.
The machinery typically operates Monday through Friday, about 7 in the morning till about 3 in the afternoon. But yeah, we're here 7 days a week.
How much manpower is actually on the machinery at any given time? How many people?
Between 3 and 8.
Okay, so yeah, it's a big job. Yourself, are you a knitter, a crocheter, a weaver, or all the things? Or?
I am just a knitter.
Okay.
I have to admit. Unfortunately, I am so passionate about knitting, I haven't actually slowed down enough to teach myself how to crochet.
There's plenty of stuff to keep busy with.
Yeah, but there are crocheters here on staff, and a lot of folks who do their own hand spinning, as well as weaving.
And as far as clientele that come in, do you get mainly knitters or kind of mix?
It's a broad mix, which is really nice.
Awesome. I know your shop in here, but do you have an online presence as well, store?
We absolutely do. So you can find all of our yarns at spinnery.com.
And I'll have all of that linked below. So if you want to shop the beautiful yarns, they'll be down there. Social media-wise, are you guys on social media too?
We are, yeah. So you'll be able to find us on Instagram at Green MTN Spinnery, and we're also on Facebook.
And then the only other thing is, what's on your hook, or your, not your hooks, because you're not a crocheter, your needles right now? What are you working on?
I am a sweater girl, tried and true, and so at any given time, I probably have between 3 and 4 projects going.
Oh, okay. Do you work pretty much exclusively with the wool here, or you kind of mix it up?
I do mix it up, and so I have been able to take advantage of some of the sheep and wool festivals that we've attended in years past, and so I have a crazy stash at home that I've been trying to work through during COVID.
Of course.
And I'm getting there, but it does mean that you'll see some patterns that I've designed that actually blend our yarns with other dyers' yarns.
Okay, so you design as well.
I do.
Fantastic, and I'll try to link that information too for you.
Cool.
Anything else you want to share with me before we go do a little tour?
Just that if you come for a visit here during the shop hop, well, anytime, really, you will get a chance to take a tour of our production floor if you want to. And you'll get a chance to see how yarn is made, which is sort of an unusual opportunity.
So fascinating.
It's easiest for us to accommodate folks between 10 and 2, Monday through Friday, because that's when we have the largest number of staff here. And we really can't accommodate groups larger than 8 because of the tight quarters that we have in between the machines. And we do ask that everybody be masked when they go on our production floor.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me, and I can't wait to go inside and look at all of that.
Yeah,
let's go.
Showing you.
All right, give me some history.
So the spinnery was started back in 1981 by a group of local fiber enthusiasts who were in a book club together. They were reading an economics book called Small is Beautiful that talks a bit about how small businesses can form really important links in communities. And they got to thinking how a small-scale mill could provide local farmers who were at the time, and still are, transitioning away from dairy farming, a way to raise sheep and have a valuable product that they could sell at the end of the day. Just to give you an idea of scale, our machinery needs about 20 pounds of clean wool to get from one end of the carding machine to the other. So our batches, our smallest batches, are about 20 pounds of fiber, and that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 sheep's fleece, depending on their age, breed, and gender. Now, just to the east of us, Harrisville is another woolen spun mill, just like us. They have the same machinery that we have here, but whereas we have one carding machine, they have many, many more. So their minimum batches are 250 pounds of fiber.
Oh, wow.
So that's a much, much larger flock. Here in New England, where farms typically are very small, raising a flock of that size is virtually impossible, and it would mean that farmers would need to save their fleeces for many seasons before they could meet that minimum. So this provides an important sort of medium-sized mill, one that's larger than being able to process one fleece at a time. You may have been able to buy yarn at a fiber festival that actually comes from one individual sheep. We are somewhere in the middle, where we can process a small group of sheep. We have to blend all that fiber together, but it does mean that small farmsteads can have yarn made from their fiber. Come on back! So we don't have the space or the water to do any dyeing here at the facility. So all of the beautiful colors that Green Mountain Spinnery is so well known for that you'll find in our shop are created by blending bale dyed wool in the carding process. So come on back and I'll show you.
Oh, I see colors.
Yeah. So you can kind of tuck around the corner and see all these great big bales.
Okay.
But over my head, you'll see this file folder here, which shows you the small spectrum of really bright, obnoxious colors that we can work with.
That's awesome.
We can blend these colors together and combine them with undyed fiber to create almost any color you could dream of.
Wow. And where are the dyed ones coming from?
So those are dyed. They're actually scoured and dyed in a facility in Philadelphia.
Okay. So yeah, they're not from Blue Sheep. So much in here. That's amazing. All right, I'll back it up.
Cool. So one other thing I'll show you while we're here, you'll want to come and actually feel in person because this is a multi-sensory experience.
Can't
We're
catch
going
that
to
on video.
compare the feel of raw fleece, which has beautiful lanolin in it, and a bunch of VM, vegetable matter. So there's some sticks and burrs and things like that. And contrast that with the beautiful fiber that's right over here. This is scoured merino. So it doesn't get any softer than this.
It's like a cloud.
It is. So you'll still see that there's quite a lot of vegetable matter left in this wool, but all of that lanolin, which we love for our manicures, is really problematic for our machinery. It's really sticky and tacky. It ends up gumming things up. And so this is wool that was sent to a large scouring facility, I believe down in Texas, where they can do, like, this is possibly somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 pounds. So they can do huge amounts of fiber at a time. In our scouring department, where we clean fiber like this in order to remove that lanolin and the dirt, we can typically only do a single fleece at a time. So we'll be headed there shortly to show you how that works.
At this point, we went inside the actual mill, and I'm going to do my best to relay information that Kate was kind of yelling into my ear, because it's so loud in there. There's no way that we could use the audio. It's incredibly loud, like the employees wear headphones and stuff like that. So here she's just showing me some wool that's been freshly pulled out of the steamer, but I'm going to walk you through step by step and try to the very best of my ability, reiterate what she was telling me about the machinery, what it does, and the history. Absolutely fascinating. If you're in the area, you need to go. So this is the mill scouring department. From what I understood, raw fleece goes in to that sink in the back there. It's very, very hot water, about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which allows them to unlock the lanolin in the fleeces, and it takes out the lanolin as well as a lot of the dirt with it. But you have to be very careful as not to felt that in the process. From there, it then goes into this custom-built scouring train, which is a magical-sounding piece of machinery. It was built especially for them by some engineering students, and basically it pulls the fiber through 3 separate baths, where it's going to rinse them and compress them between these rollers, which were made out of the braking system from trucks. Incredible. And then from there, it's rinsed and squeezed and gets pretty dry, but without any agitation. From there, it then goes into the oldest piece of machinery at the spinnery. This is actually a cast iron washing machine that was manufactured in 1898. I love the ingenuity of them just repurposing this stuff. There it gets one last rinse, and the centrifugal force gets it dry enough that they can then put it into an actual dryer without fear of it ending up being felted. From there, the clean fiber can go back into storage until they're ready to put it into production. Up next, she brought us to the picker, which is basically a big metal tooth comb that's going to begin separating through the larger chunks of fiber and start the blending process. So whether they're blending together different actual fiber types or different colors, this is where that starts. It goes through this machine 2 to 3 times, and it shoots out into a tube in the wall and into a storage closet. Then they put it back through until they're satisfied. And on the final time through, it gets a light coating of spinning oil just to help facilitate the next step in the process. Up next, we're at the carding machine. It pulls the fiber up and over into a bucket on the other side that's basically weighted. So when it gets full, it's going to drop the fiber down onto the belt and feed it into the next part of the machine. Then it gets pulled up through these rollers, and each one of them, I wasn't able to get a super up close look for you guys, but they're each covered in tiny little metal barbs, if you can see them, and they just brush right over each other and basically comb out that fiber. The carding process gets all the fibers into alignment and continues at the blending process. Next, the fiber gets folded up and carried by conveyor belt onto the second half of the machine, where it's then again folded sideways before continuing on. That change in the direction of the fiber gives that characteristic woolen spun nature of the roving that this machine creates. Again, I want to emphasize, if you are in the area and able to go, please go and do this tour and touch this fiber. It was like, I feel like saying like a cloud is so, typical, but it felt like touching cotton candy. It was amazing. So it continues on feeding through this machine, and Kate wanted to stop at this point and show me just how incredibly fragile it is. So delicate at this point, like a web. But from there, it feeds up through the machine in between these leather straps, which is just enough pressure to slice it into strips basically. And then it feeds through some rubber aprons that jostle it enough to create just enough friction to twist the fiber into what will then become pencil roving. The final product of this machine is pencil roving. It has a very messy internal structure, which, unlike worsted spun fiber, which is not what they do at this mill, that requires different machinery and creates fibers all in alignment and makes kind of a stronger, more cable-like fiber. Here at the mill, they do woolen spun, which is a lot like hand spun. And the structure is very web-like, and she was showing me how just loose and full of air it is. It's super warm, but also very elastic and incredibly lightweight because of all the air that's in there. But at this point, it's so fragile and so delicate that you can just kind of pull it apart, and it would not be very suitable for working with. So spinning becomes necessary to add more strength. Here, they're able to take multiple strands of that fragile roving and combine it together into one strong single ply and create all different weights of yarn, all the way from lace up to bulky. From there, those single ply bobbins, once they're full, go into a cart and they get put into a steamer, where they're going to stay in there for about 2 hours to really help set the twist of the ply. It kind of creates a memorization, if you will, within the fiber. Then also, if they are making a multi-ply yarn, so not just a single ply, but say like a 4-ply, they take it, put it on another plying machine, twist them together in the opposite direction onto another bobbin, and then those bobbins get steamed again for another 2 hours. after the whole steaming process, they have to get the yarn off of the bobbins and out to you, the people. So it either goes onto cardboard cones, which is a method that is preferred by weavers, or also great if you want to get a ton of yarn, or they can skein it off. So they have a skeining machine over here that can actually skein up to 12 skeins at one time with great precision, because they have this little yardage counter that actually keeps track of exactly how many yards is going into each skein, so they can keep them all uniform. The very final step for yarns that are going to be going out onto their retail floor to be sold to you is that they get one last bath in some hot water and eucalypt to get that final coating of spinning oil that they added off to get them all prettied up and ready for you guys.
So welcome to our mill shop. Here in front of you is our worsted weight wall. To the left here is our mountain mohair. It's a single ply blend of wool and mohair. And it's sort of a unicorn in that because of its single ply structure, it works at a weirdly large range of gauges. It looks great at 18 stitches to the inch for dense ski sweaters or mittens. But it also looks fantastic when knit more loosely at like 14 stitches to the inch. Wow. When it creates a really dreamy kind of fabric. It's got some beautiful flow and movement to it.
Are these all patterns from the spinnery?
That's right. We've developed over 300 different patterns that all support our yarns. You'll see many of these patterns have been knit up, so we have samples here in the shop that you can check out and, if you need to, try on.
Amazing.
So you can get a sense of how the yarns knit up and also how the patterns fit. Next up is 100% wool. This is our 2-ply weekend wool. I like it for an Aran weight gauge. I think it looks great when you give it a little bit of space to bloom once you block it. And here we have our undyed organic yarns.
Ooh.
These are from 2 separate flocks here in New England. A Maine flock and a Vermont flock. And these skeins are left undyed, so those beautiful colors are from the animals themselves.
Amazing.
This is our most recent pattern collection, and it has a dozen different designs from different designers that all feature our yarns.
Beautiful.
And these are our 2 earlier books. The original Green Mountain Spinnery book that has patterns that were developed in the 80s. It has a number of really great color work designs that are sort of timeless. And in the back it's got some t-shirts and kids things as well.
Oh, nice.
And 99 Yarns is the middle child, if you will. I like this because it's got sort of a cheat sheet in the back showing you a quick visual of all the different patterns included in this book.
Beautiful.
Behind you is our DK weight wall. So here we actually have 4 different yarns. 100% wool here, the wool and 10 cell blend up in this corner, the wool and alpaca blend along that column, and a wool and cotton blend. It's actually an 80-20 mix, so there's much more wool in there. And the cotton really only ends up, creating sort of a tweedy fleck. These skeins are sent out and dyed after the fact, and the different colors end up getting absorbed by the different fiber content in the yarn at different rates. So you can actually see the cotton in that yarn.
That's beautiful.
Here we've got some fun miscellaneous things. You will be finding our irregular skeins in this area when you come and visit us in August. Right now we've got our bulky weight yarn over, which is a recycled yarn. It allows us to reuse our wool waste in between different batches. So every time we make a batch of yarn over, it's a different color.
Wow. Beautiful.
These are our ply ends. Hands down, the best bargain to be found at the mill. These are just 25 cents an ounce.
So you could get potentially a sweater quantity's worth of yarn for less than a cup of fancy coffee.
Oh wow, and is that about a fingering or a lace?
This is probably a lace. I actually like to double strand or even triple strand these guys and knit them up at DK or worsted weight so they go a little bit faster. So right now we're working through whites in our production, so that's why all of these ply ends are this beautiful creamy white. But by the time you guys arrive here in August, you may find some other colors available because this is the way that we get those last bits of yarn off our bobbins.
Okay, but that would be great to dye on too if you wanted to mess around with dyeing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What's this twirly friend?
Isn't that fun? So these are limited edition mini skeins of our ragtime yarn. So our other DK yarn is a beautiful rag. I'll show you those in a minute. These are the ply ends from that yarn plied back on itself. So over here in the corner are the other ragtime colors.
Oh, amazing. Ooh, this one's so fun. And are those about a bulky?
These are actually DK, but they're put up in giant skeins, so they're 306 yards per skein. And here is our fingering options, which I'm really excited about. So we've got a 2-ply 100% wool yarn called Lana. These are put up in 400 yard skeins. We've got a Moorit single, which is from a merino fiber raised for this beautiful Moorit color.
Oh, wow.
We've got our forest yarn, which is a blend of wool and tencel, which makes it great for socks because it's got some extra strength to it thanks to that wood pulp fiber. And Simply Fine. So we've got our 3 original natural skeins, which are put up in 450 yards. And then we created our skinnies a couple of years back. These are half-size skeins so that people doing color work don't end up with so much yarn left over.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so this is the finest fiber that we work with here.
And you have lots of nice samples, other fun goodies. Are all of the sweaters over here your own designs too?
That's right.
Okay.
Those 2 are examples of what I was telling you about. These are both designs I've done recently that combine our yarns with yarns from Fiber Optic. Kimber Baldwin, based out of Ohio, makes those beautiful gradings.
Amazing. I love this one. Missy crochet. Yay! Do all of you on the team design, or is it just a couple of you? Or
there's a handful of us that design.
It's hard to do one-handed.
It is, yeah.
Oh, it's a cardigan. Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And are the patterns on Ravelry as well, or only
They
through
are.
your books? Okay.
They
So you
are.
can find all these goodies on Rav. We did it, you guys. We shop hopped all the way up I-91. So that was the last vlog. Thank you for coming along with me, whether you've gone in person. Well, you haven't gone in person yet because the shop hop hasn't happened yet. Whether you intend to go in person or are just following along with me, I appreciate it. I know these shops appreciate it. Definitely make sure you're giving them follows on their social media platforms, checking out any of their online shops, and just keeping that yarn economy going because it's been a rough year for everybody. I'm sitting in my car, which we didn't drive in, so it's been in the hot driveway all day. And I have one car door open, so you may hear some birds and car noise. And my neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but whatever. I take false shawl photos, or shawl videos dancing in the road, so they already think I'm crazy. Green Mountain Spinnery. Definitely a really unique experience. Definitely more of a like production experience than a yarn store experience. They have, like you saw, a tiny little yarn shop, but like Kate said, they're mostly producing yarn for other farmers and whatnot. And I had never seen any kind of spinnery or mill, so that was fascinating. Hopefully I sorted out the audio enough that you could understand what was going on. It's loud in there, like real loud. So hopefully that worked out. Be sure to go check out their website as well. I think they have a tour up on their site too that you can check out for more details. But I really, really enjoyed that, and Kate was so delightful. So I got some I think they were called ply ends, or just like weird ends from their like leftovers that they need to clear off the machine. Is my understanding of how it works. But it was 25 cents an ounce. So this is, I think it came out to about 13-ish. I don't remember how many ounces. No, more than that. It was $7 total. For probably easily 2,000 or more yards of yarn. So they roughly lace weight. The lighting is getting real iffy here. I apologize. Roughly lace weight. Mystery yarns, don't know what they are because they're just random ends. This one definitely has some plant matter going on in it. I love that. I would have loved to have gotten some other yarns, but I am not somebody that really does well with woolly wool. So I probably could have gotten some sock yarn, but sweater quantity, can't do it. Can't do hats, can't do shawls, can't do sweaters. I want to, but I cannot. Just really sensitive. But wool doesn't seem to bother my feet because I think, one, my feet are just really like tough skin, and also they get really sweaty, and wool's more tolerable if it's warmed up. So, yeah, that's my secret. Put your wool on your sweaty feet. But these are definitely no nylon in them to my knowledge. They are a single ply. So she was suggesting holding them double because they're roughly a lace weight. So it would give you a fingering or maybe a sport weight held, plied together. Which is not going to give you, perfect tension and whatnot like it was actually plied. But it should be okay for socks. So my thought is I'll do some natural dyeing on these, cake some of it off, or skein some of it off, however you take some of it off and dye it. Because I like messing around with natural dyeing a bunch. And for $7, why not? So I'm going to try holding that double, and she did suggest off camera too that if I got some like nylon, like sewing thread, quilting thread, something with nylon in it, that if I held it double and maybe like a similar color or some like pop of color if I wanted to, that would add some stability to like heels and toes. Because the only thing with wool, obviously they've made wool socks for hundreds, if not thousands of years without synthetics in them, but just durability wise in shoes, the nylon adds a little bit of extra strength. So I might do that. And then this gray I'll probably just hold double with itself because it's just really beautiful, natural gray. Definitely woolly. One of the cones, this guy, he's the woolliest one. No idea what they are, and I kind of like that. And she did some quick calculations on yardage, and it was, I think one of these held double was like 600 yards, so probably it may have like 3,000 or more yards. Easily a whole bunch of yarn for $7. Absolutely, I'm going for that. So that was an amazing experience. Beautiful yarn, just a beautiful facility, and I love that it's all pieced together with like all this ingenuity and like random pieces of old stuff and like just one of a kind equipment and processing. It's incredible, so fascinating. So I was so glad I got to do that. Thank you guys for coming along with me on the shop hop. I hope you enjoyed this. If you guys like these vlog style yarn shop videos, make sure to leave me a comment down below because there's plenty of other yarn stores in the area that I could visit and interview, and I'd be happy to do that if it's something you guys are into and it's gonna convert into views. So let me know if this is what you're into. I love supporting local yarn stores, and I love particularly encouraging crocheters to support local yarn stores and use indie dyed and like locally dyed and stuff that isn't from Michael's. We know it has its place, but I really, really like that side of things, and I want to encourage you guys to try it out too. And look, you can get so much yarn for $7. How budget friendly is that? Amazing. And it smells sheepy. blows out the color every time I pick it up, but whew, I love it so much. So thank you again for coming, and I will hopefully see you guys soon down in the comments and whatnot of the podcast. I hope you're going to stick around beyond the shop hop videos, and I'm just so grateful that you came along with me. So let me know if you are going to do the shop hop. I'd love to see that in the comments down below as well if you're going in person. And I'm sure it'd be fun for the shops too if you say, hey, Bella sent me. That'd be fun. So thank you. Go support that yarn economy, and I'll talk to you guys soon.